if someone was an ultimate Alden fan and you gave them two options, one with the boot built as it is currently, one with the boot built to how I believe most people, including myself, would rather have them built, what would they choose? To me, I'm willing to bet most people are going to go towards the more leather, more natural, the dependable materials, the thicknesses that we really want. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe people want the synthetics. Maybe people want these cheaper materials. But to me, if you're already charging that much money, spend the few extra dollars that we just talked about and make them the boots that people actually want, and not just these like, yeah, I like Aldens, they're really comfortable, but I wish their materials were better. I wish their QC was better. I wish this was better. I'm like, yeah, me too. Like, Alden, make your boots better. Like, you're Alden. Someone else is going to. Like, it's only a matter of time before someone's like, you know what? That Alden last, it's not that unique. Like, it's just a orthopedic last, and like, it's a mock toe. I could probably make a better Alden, you know?
I don't have any qualms with Alden outside some finishing stuff here and there, which is usually not a huge bother to me personally. You know, kind of wonky mock stitching, all that.
Do you feel like they're fairly priced?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're fairly priced for a brand that is made in the USA, that is frankly having like labor shortages, which is always, you know, partially because of what they pay, which means that they have to pay more, which means that the boots are going to get more expensive. You know, there's also like skill and who wants to do this kind of stuff, and you know where you are and all that. But yeah, I mean, when you add that all up, yeah, I think, and you know, like the heritage of they're the last remaining great American, you know, dress shoe / indie boot, etc. maker, and everybody else has gone and chosen what I would consider to be the dark side. You know, like in the 60s, Alden wasn't necessarily considered to be the pinnacle, right? There were probably 2 or 3 brands that some people, or, you know, they're all on par, right? They weren't head and shoulders above Florsheim, et cetera, right? Johnson and Murphy was once a great company that people believed in deeply, you know, Nunn, Bush, whatever. And the fact that they've made it through all of that is remarkable, number one, and I think in a way justifies the price that they charge, because everybody else proved that there was no way to operate, at least under the ownership that kind of claimed them in a lot of instances, at the prices they were charging. And they had to go somewhere else and make it much cheaper and have an absolute kind of garbage product at this point. So for that alone, you know, like, to pay for the preservation of that and like fine American shoemaking, which is distinct from Pacific Northwest American shoemaking and Maine shoemaking, you know, fine Goodyear welted American shoemaking. Yeah, I think it's completely reasonable.
Yeah, because I think that's where this conversation is really good and interesting and actually very informative, is like, you can look at it from that perspective of like the heritage, the business model, this, and this. And at the same time, in your own head, you can still hold that like, okay, what about just the materials, like in components? If you compare it to other boots, I think most people would agree that there's a lot better boots to be had component to component for this price, if not half the price. And both of those can be true. And you can agree with both, you can disagree with both, you can agree with one and the other. But I think that's the big crux of all this, is there's a group of people who are like Alden purists, like, let's preserve this, like the heritage, the business model, this, all the externalities of the boot make it justified, versus the other people who are like, I just want a quality boot with quality materials, that the materials are justified through the price compared to a spectrum of boots in a similar price range.
I mean, I think both those camps are completely reasonable places to stand. But I don't have a problem with either of them.
I feel like that's the bummer and the hard part of all this, is instead of it being like good, informative conversations, on occasion it slips down into this thing that's going on society-wide of just like polarity, yes or no, I hate you, I love you, I like this, I hate this. It's like, yeah, but you can hold two thoughts. Because do you think component by, and you don't have to answer this, do you think component by component, these are worth $650, whatever they are?
I mean, that's not how I think about it.
Right. Yeah.
That's how you think about it. And I think I think it's good that both of us are thinking about things the way we think about them. You know, I don't believe that there is a true answer to when people are like, well, what shoe should I get? It's like, well, this is going to take a while. Let's talk about it. And, and that's where a Grant Stone or a Red Wing or something like that comes in very handy. Well, this is probably, hopefully, maybe an attainable price point for you. And like, let's start here. And you could stay stuck there forever. And stuck is the wrong word. Stuck is like a bad word. Like you could just be there forever and be completely content with those. Or you can decide that you become interested in whatever aspect it is. It could be materials, it could be patterning, it could be lasts for sure. You end up going where you go on this journey and like you keep figuring things out. Like that's kind of how I see things. So yeah, I mean, I think that what you do is valuable for a lot of people because it helps them understand things that they had never thought about before and they don't necessarily have or certainly don't have insight into, in terms of like literally ripping these things apart. But I think that's part of it, to me. If something really sings to you and it's comfortable, like as a baseline, and you think it looks good and you can get all wrapped up in the story or not, but if it does and you have the money to do it, like be responsible, everybody. Like don't just buy boots because somebody on the internet told you to, especially if they're expensive. Then yeah, I mean it's all completely worth it because you wear them and you think about them and you love them, So yeah, I mean that's how I think. A little, could be too poetic. Like accuse me of that, but I can't get away from it.